This album is often called an emo masterpiece, the one that arguably defined an entire genre. But what if your journey to Something to Write Home About didn't start with the polished melodies of pop punk? What if it didn't begin with the heartfelt sing-alongs? For me, my path to one of emo's most important records started with a hardcore band screaming in my face. It was September of 1999 when the Get Up Kids dropped this album. And in doing so, they provided a cornerstone for what is now called the second wave of emo. This record became a blueprint, a roadmap for countless bands that would follow. But to understand its impact, you have to understand the context. The emo scene of the time was still largely an underground phenomenon, a far cry from the mainstream force it would become. Before Something to Write Home About, the Get Up Kids were a promising band with a raw, more frenetic energy. But this album was different. It was a massive professional leap forward that set a new standard for the genre. They combined their established pop-punk drive with a newfound melodic sophistication. A huge part of that evolution was the addition of James Dewey's on keyboards. At a time when synths weren't a common feature in the scene, these piano and keyboard melodies were a total game changer. Suddenly, tracks like Action Action and 10 Minutes had an incredibly new layer. A counterpoint to the driving guitars that took their sound from the garage straight to an arena-ready level. Inspired by albums like Jimmy Eat World's Clarity and the Foo Fighters' The Color and the Shape, the band created something that was both emotionally raw and incredibly catchy. Beyond the sound, the themes of love, longing, and regret are what have given this album such a lasting shelf life. The lyrics tackle the universal anxieties of growing up and growing apart with a sincerity that feels 100% genuine. From the opening lines of Holiday questioning, "What became of all the friends I used to know?" the album taps into a feeling of nostalgic relentlessness that still hits hard over 25 years later. Matt Pryor's vocal performance is the perfect vehicle for these emotions, capable of both a powerful shout and a captivating whisper. Whether it's the earnest plea of Valentine or the acoustic heartbreak of Out of Reach, the songs are relatable and deeply personal. They created a world of emotion that felt like your own happiest and saddest memories set to music. It's this combination of honest songwriting and unforgettable hooks that made the album an instant classic. The album's success didn't just elevate the Get Up Kids, it helped build an entire scene. It was the record that put Vagrant Records on the map, allowing them to sign other influential acts like Dashboard Confessional and Saves the Day. In fact, the label's co-owner was so confident in the band that he convinced his parents to remortgage their house and fund the recording. And the album's influence on other bands is undeniable. Pete Wentz of Fall Out Boy has stated bluntly, Fall Out Boy would not be a band if it were not for the Get Up Kids. You can hear their DNA on bands from Blink-182 and Paramore to Taking Back Sunday and My Chemical Romance. The Get Up Kids provided the starter kit for a whole generation of pop-punk and emo bands. So was this album a masterpiece, or was it just the right sound at the right time? For me, the answer goes back to that hardcore band. Before Something to Write Home About, the Get Up Kids released a split 7-inch with the Kansas City hardcore band Coalesce. My first introduction to them wasn't through their own songs, but through their cover of Coalesce's track Harvest of Maturity. Hearing this so-called emo band tackle a heavy, aggressive song with their own melodic sensibility proves that their appeal crosses scenes and genres. And the twist? James Dewey is the keyboardist who so radically transformed their sound, was a member of Coalesce. That connection was the key. The album wasn't just a product of its scene, it was a bridge between worlds. It had the hooks for the pop-punk kids, the heart for the emo kids, and the credibility for the hardcore kids. It didn't just capture a moment in time, it created a new one. It absolutely earned its legendary status.